Coogs House. All right, we're back for a bonus episode today because we have to tell you about why Mikal Harrison-Pilot will have a big impact and help turn around the Houston football program. So let's get to it.
You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Cougars, daily podcast about your Houston Cougars. I'm your host, Houston-born teacher and coach Parker Ainsworth, here to break down all things Cougs. If you're U of H fans, you're hitting that by, please be sure to hit subscribe down below that we can get the latest on the Cougs each and every day in your inbox. We bring the latest on the Cougs each and every day, and you make us your first listen of the day. We'd really appreciate it. Also, welcome back to YouTube channel. Again, we're probably over 350 subscribers by the time you listen to this. We're growing rapidly, so thank you all so much for the subs there. Remember, we get to 500. We're giving away a gift package this time, courtesy of our buddies behind me at Sparkle. So make sure you subscribe to help us get to that number, and then we can give away some fun Sparkle gear to someone else. The 251 went great. This time, you know, make sure you're commenting on videos to be entered. If you can't even comment, tell us tell us whether or not you cut your burrito. All right, today we're going to talk in this bonus episode all about Mikal Harrison-Pilot and the big impact he's going to have on the Houston Cougars. And so let's jump right in. If you are, not paying attention to recruiting, been living under a rock, or just don't pay any attention to the football team at all, you probably missed it. But over the weekend, consensus 4-star athlete, which is quite an intimidating position title. I love that position title, frankly, but ranked as the number 4 athlete overall in the football class of 2023 across the nation. Mikal Harrison-Pilot, right before kickoff of the U.S. Army All-American game in San Antonio, committed to the University of Houston Cougars over TCU, Texas, Oklahoma, and Cal. That was his top. That rounds out his top 5. He chose the Cougars over TCU, Texas, OU, and Cal. He's listed at 6 foot, 185 pounds. In high school, he played wide receiver, quarterback, running back, corner, safety, baseball, and track. I should also point out that he plays in the percussion band and is an honor roll student. He's quite a quality all-around kid by all interpretations. His father played at the University of Houston and is a football coach at Temple High School, where he went to high school in Temple, Texas, just north of the Austin, Central Texas area. So let's break this down a little bit, because that's all great. But this is a big time home run hit in a way that we've had several big hits, including running back from Klein, or guys from the Houston area. But why is this a more nationally relevant one? So first of all, I think it's worth noting he chose Houston over TCU. Yes, the same TCU playing in Monday night's college football national championship game. He chose to come east to Houston instead of going north, relative to him, to Fort Worth. And frankly, it was surprising because in the summertime period of recruiting, shortly before Arch Manning committed to Texas, he mentioned that if Arch had committed to Texas, he would go to the University of Texas at Austin, because that's the big-time quarterback he'd like to play with. He projects himself as a wide receiver, again, listed as an athlete, because at Temple High School, he did everything. It sounds like Texas botched that one, if they botched so many of these things, by telling him he'd be a safety, thus not playing with Arch Manning, thus probably negating that he'd want to go there. This kid had over 50 offers to play college football across the country. He's the 4th highest recruit to ever come to Houston in the modern recruit ranking era for football. Over the course of his recruitment, for the vast majority of it, I don't think anyone broke at the end, but I don't want to speak too soon. He had the most scholarship offers in the state of Texas to play football. He is the highest ranked recruit on either side of the ball that Houston has had since Ed Oliver. And frankly, he's going to have more of an impact, because I love linemen, don't get me wrong, but a wide receiver can change your offense in more ways than a defensive tackle can change your defense. And that's not to say that Ed Oliver did not have a crazy impact in his time on campus. I mean, that third ward defensive line continue, the legacy continues in the Sac Avenue guys you see now. But the entire offense opens up when you have this kind of a guy out there. he comes to Houston because his father went to Houston. Like I said, he said in the moment as he puts the hat on that it's like a legacy for me. I just want to finish what he started. They've been recruiting me since I was in the 8th grade when I had my first camp there. He came to camp at Houston as an 8th grader, and they said, "Hey, you can play here right now." His father played linebacker. Undercovered story in this: his stepmother was a cheerleader as well. He is a lifetime Cougar that's going to spend his time in Third Ward. Now, at 6 foot 185, I think what's interesting here is he will probably start out playing wide receiver, but he's the kind of wide receiver that could see Houston motion in the backfield some. And what I think is fascinating there is in this Holgorsen air raid system, being able to keep the same personnel on the field while you're doing multiple different things with him in the backfield in the 2-back or him out, motioning in the backfield as a single back going out of empty, like that keeps the defense on their toes in a way that Houston hasn't really been able to do in a while, right? And so that opens up a lot of the Holgorsen offense that you kind of saw him do some at West Virginia or in his first time through U of H as an offensive coordinator. And I think what's interesting here is there are so many wideouts in Houston, and obviously the running backs too. We're bringing back Stacey Snead, McCaskill's going to be back, those kind of guys. But you can kind of toy with stuff in a lot of different ways with him as a freshman. As a freshman, he'll be that kind of an impact guy. I imagine he gets a lot of his reps as a slot that directly replaces Tank Dell. Tank Dell will likely be getting paid to play on Sundays, so that's quite a big shoes to fill, but that's also going to be his job. And if you're looking for people to fill your jobs, A, I would recommend getting someone as good at their job as Tank Dell, but B, as a small business owner or hiring manager, you know that success in 2023 depends on the team members you surround yourself with. That's why I check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates and more efficiently by matching roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help you achieve your goals. LinkedIn Jobs helps you quickly attract qualified candidates to your open jobs with targeting tools that go beyond the resume's data by using insights from your job post, company, and their 875 million member profiles to put your post in front of the most qualified candidates. Identify the most qualified candidates on LinkedIn Jobs and connect with them fast and for free. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to screen and rate applicants based on your job qualifications, all on one platform. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs number one, delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the most qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. It's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So if he's filling in for a pro wideout, I think there'd be a lot of pressure on the kid moving into the Big 12. I think that he'll get a lot of the attention from defenses. But I think the thing it does here is you can put him and Matthew Golden on the same side of the field in doubles and trips looks because Golden kind of play inside and out. And then you have Mikal Harrison-Pilot in more of a slot MHP as more of a slot kind of guy initially. And all of a sudden, they have to either shift their entire coverage over, which will open up a lot of stuff on the outside, or they're pulling guys out of the box. But if they're pulling those guys out of the box, which is what they did to Tank Dell a lot when he was in the slot, then all of a sudden, they're not accounting for Donovan Smith or Lucas Coley in the quarterback run game because they're taking guys out of the box. And we talked about on a previous episode, so go back and check the catalog, Donovan Smith's legs are NFL caliber running quarterback type stuff, right? Now, I think his arm is better than most, and it's, I think, where people and I disagree. Apparently, it sounds like on Twitter and in comments. But on the whole, the thing we all agree on is he can both run around safeties and run around linebackers and stiff safeties and through corners and loose safeties, right? So like all of those things are available to him if you start pulling those out of the box, because all he has to worry about is can he get away from the D-line? And if you're going to pull your guys out of the box, those gaps open up, he can get away from the D-line, boom, he's gone, right? Houston's going to have a chance to have, I should say, a dynamic offense next season. And MHP, I'm going to have to get you saying that fast. MHP is going to play a big, big role in that because he comes in automatically as the kind of athlete that you're giving option routes to from the slot area. He's an impact freshman player that if you have Golden take like a skinny post that takes away the deep threats, all of a sudden all that underneath stuff is just him getting away from linebackers. And I don't care if it is the Big 12. He's going to get away from linebackers and nickel type packages. And I imagine he also plays a role in special teams. He did some of that at Temple. You'll see him take back kickoffs and that kind of stuff too throughout parts of the season. Again, talking about a Tank Dell replacement, and all of these kinds of things. And if he is replacing Tank Dell in this way, we got to point out too, like Tank Dell is a first round caliber talent with fourth round caliber size that will probably fall to like the third round. I think he's going to stick in the pros. I think if Deshaun Jackson can do it, he will too. But that's where he's going to be. Mikal Harrison-Pilot's already bigger than that. He's 6'1", 185. I mean, he's already a bigger, stronger kid. And as far as his high school times goes, he runs the same kind of times, and he's got track speed, right? Again, everything track guy as well. Like he's that kind of athlete that's going to make a big impact. So what I see happening, and we're going to get better X's and O's as the show goes on, but we'll talk about it all off season in more detail. But you'll see him in a trip side with Matthew Golden, probably also lined up in between them and the outside receiver, cycle guys and the outside receiver, right? And that'll be more like your check down kind of stuff if they really shift over to cover the two guys at the top. But I can imagine Golden taking stuff away over the top, the same way you saw him catch the game-winning touchdown pass against Temple, right? That crossing the seams, splitting two high safeties, or taking away the one high if that's what they want to go with, right? And then underneath stuff, drags, in and outs, arrows, all of that kind of wiggly stuff is going to be Mikal Harrison-Pilot. That's going to be MHP from the jump, and that's awesome because that was Tank. And so if we're replacing Tank with a freshman that has a crazy high ceiling that wants to be here, that's going to be so nice for a new quarterback like Donovan Smith or Lucas Coley or whomever if someone else comes in the transfer portal to compete for it. I'm excited about that because my coach's hat on defensively, I don't know what to take away. And frankly, it's kind of scary defensively. Like Houston returns their 5 offensive linemen. So you got to think that they can do some more complex stuff up front. They have a plethora of running backs. They can quickly get into 2 backs and throw the ball out of the backfield to guys. I mean, Snead's got decent hands to the backfield. All McCaskill's going to be good out of the backfield, especially coming off the injury, assuming that he's 100% like he should be. And then you have a wide receiver that can also play in the backfield. And then don't be surprised if, Donovan Smith's legs don't necessarily need it, but if they go more of a stiffer quarterback route at some point later in Mikal Harrison-Pilot's career, he can also do the Wildcat quarterback thing. I just, as a defense coordinator, even in the Big 12, would have a real problem with how to wrap my head around this. And I imagine what they're going to try and do is make Donovan Smith throw the ball outside on these, like give up the MHP option route, but force the outside throw, which is a difficult one. But we know that if MHP gets the sideline, I can pull you up 1,000 highlight clips of him turn the thing up, right? Like then he's got his track speed up the sideline. He can only come and attack him from one angle. Like I'm taking MHP there if we only complete that throw. And I think that's going to be a big deal. Later this week, hint, we're going to be talking about how Houston kind of can fit into the TCU mold, right? TCU 20 years ago was kind of a nothing program in Fort Worth, Texas. And they had LaDainian Tomlinson, and he was like, they were the fighting LaDainian Tomlinsons, right? And now they're playing the national championship game. Depending on when you listen to this, I guess they might have, won or whatever. We're recording this out on a Monday. So if you listen to us late, I guess they might have done something big there. Houston kind of fits somewhere in the middle of that 20-year run, right? Houston had their big bowl win against Auburn about 12 months ago. TCU had their big win of Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl several years ago at this point. Then they moved in the Big 12. Houston's now moving in the Big 12. So where in that does Houston fit? I don't know. But what I do know is that Mikal Harrison-Pilot is key to how that fits, right? You think about like Dotson, the guys that came through TCU at wide receiver. This is that kind of guy, but better. So be ready to hear about that a lot this offseason. Man, oh man, always surprised. Mikal Harrison-Pilot, if you are hearing this somehow, thank you for coming home. You want to talk to me? We can talk to you. We can talk to you on the show about how different ways you get used and different ways you enjoy the offense sometime. Tune into all that kind of stuff all off season long for football or all in season for basketball as well. Every day at Locked On Cougs. You can find me and my personal stuff to talk about it with at Painsworth512. It's PAINSWORTH 512 on Twitter, Instagram. I have a B-Reel and a TikTok, but I don't use it very often. All those things, we'll talk about it every day. Talk about the Cougs each and every day, and the Rockets and the Astros. And I guess the Texans apparently just fired Lovie Smith. Dysfunctional franchise. We can talk about them as well each and every day as much as you want to. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Cougs. You can talk about them each and every day as well. For your second listen, I'm going to recommend going to listen to the Cincinnati Bearcat win. The Houston Cougars beat the Cincinnati Bearcats, I should say, and we recap that in another episode today, or full length episode today. And if you've already heard that or have had enough of the Cougs for the day, I'm going to recommend Locked On College Basketball. That's a very Coug-friendly show. The Cougs are a very good basketball team, and they're talking about us a lot over there, too. So make sure to check on Locked On College Basketball. Thank you all so much for tuning into the show today. Locked On Cougs is a proud member of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. This case, MHP's team as well. Go Cougs.